I know you came to this video to have me explain to you how Sarada is gonna surpass Sasuke, but first we need to talk about how I'm going to surpass more than 75% of people who watch my videos not subscribing to my page. While we're here, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell, because if you love anime, you're gonna love it here. So yes, let's get to the core statement of this video. The reason you clicked. Sarada is going to surpass Sasuke, and it's really not as insane as it might sound. There's a lot of people out there who are like,
oh, but how could Sarada surpass Sasuke? She's not a full-blooded Uchiha.
And here's the thing, that's actually probably gonna help her. First off, don't get me started on how long the Uchihas have been literally inbreeding. I mean, they're not alone, so have the Hyugas, but if it was the real world, the only special characteristic the Uchihas would have would be 6 fingers on each hand. So from just like a real world genetic standpoint, it's a good thing we got Sakura in there. But from like an anime world power scaling kind of thing, it's also a good thing we got Sakura in there. Everyone out there being like,
oh, that's why Sarada's got glasses, because Sakura's her mom. How do you make an Uchiha's eyes useless?
First off, come up with another joke. Second off, there is literally no one stronger that Sasuke could have bred with in order to make Sarada. For 3 years after the war arc, it was revealed to us in Sakura Hiden, a canon light novel, that Sakura went to train her physical strength and her speed. She acknowledged that she wasn't as helpful in the Kaguya fight as she could have been and wanted to reverse that fate should another Otsutsuki level threat attack the leaf. And what did she accomplish in those 3 years, you ask? Well, for one, she improved her already best in the Leaf Village chakra-assisted strength. On top of that, she was able to achieve Night Guy, yes, you heard me right, Night Guy, that's Might Guy in his 8th gate form, in his long red dragon kick that he almost killed Madara with, levels of speed in base form. And I don't know if you guys remember the war arc as well as I remember the war arc, but that kick bent space-time. By the way, scientist Nick speaking here for a second, the only way to bend space-time is to literally be such a massive object, you form your own gravitational pull. So in that moment, Night Guy became such a massively heavy object that he bent the space-time around him and created his own gravitational pull. Einstein taught us this, and Sakura can do that too. And obviously, Sarada's other parent is Sasuke, the person she's going to supersede. Combine those two bloodlines together and you have the makings for a child that could arguably, without the use of a little plot pushing Boruto around, be stronger than Boruto. I'm not saying the Hyuga bloodline isn't incredible for Boruto, but if we're being real, Sakura is stronger than Hinata. But then again, Naruto is stronger than Sasuke, so I guess it's kind of a toss-up. Regardless, Sakura is able to pass on more than just her strength and her power, both of which, by the way, Sarada got. We've seen her display them. Sakura can pass down the 100 healings, and everyone's always talking about,
well, how is Sarada gonna get her EMS? Is she gonna take Sasuke's eyes? Because that's the only other set of Sharingans out there.
and while yes, this is a possibility, Sasuke could die or just be like, fuck it, I don't need eyes, and pop his eyes into Sarada's face. Obviously, after the whole, Boroshiki's debacle, though, that would only be one eye. That is unless, of course, they take out Sasuke's broken Rinnegan, pop in a regular eye, and he reawakens a Sharingan in that eye. But Naruto's Yang release in the war arc wasn't even strong enough to fix Kakashi's dojutsu, so it's hard to believe that Sasuke would be able to reawaken a dojutsu. Regardless, Sarada's most likely not going to be taking Sasuke's eyes. The much more likely scenario is that Sarada is going to use the 100 healings that she gets passed down to her from Sakura in order to heal the damage done to her Mangekyō Sharingans by the use of them. We already know that this is a possibility because Obito was able to heal the damage done to his Kamui eye with the use of Hashirama cells. And where do you think the 100 healing seal came from? I'll give you a guess, it was the Senju. Therefore, Hashirama cells and the 100 healings jutsu should act very similarly. And I can hear you in the back already.
Well, that's assuming Sarada awakens the Mangekyō Sharingan, which would mean someone close to her would have to die.
But once again, random person, you're not entirely correct. Yes, hypothetically, if, let's say, Mitsuki died in front of her, she could awaken her Mangekyō Sharingan, but that's not the only way she could do it, and she's actually the person who proved that to us. The only reason that the Uchihas thought that they had to watch someone die near them in order to strengthen their Sharingans is because Black Zetsu changed the tablet in the Uchiha hideout. He changed it from saying basically you need to experience strong emotions to increase the power of your Sharingans to you need to experience great despair to increase your power. And Sarada is the first person we've ever seen awaken a Sharingan without like deep trauma happening to her. She awakens it just by seeing Sasuke. She awakens it with love. And love is a very strong emotion. So who's to say she couldn't awaken her Mangekyō Sharingan with love? As to what that love scenario will be, I can't really speak on. I'm assuming it will have to do with Boruto since they're absolutely going to get shipped together. You're crazy if you think not. I'll make a video about it in the future. Or it could have to do with maybe watching Sakura or Sasuke give it their all in a fight. Regardless of what it is, I simply don't believe someone has to die around her for her to awaken it. And I can hear you saying once again,
Well, yeah, sure, if she has an EMS that makes her strong, but that wouldn't make her as strong as peak Sasuke.
and you're not wrong, but you're also not right. Because here's the thing. Sure, Sasuke has plot armor, and he has been stabbed through the heart 3 or 4 times and managed to survive. And he did get lightning lariated in the face, and it was supposed to collapse his chest and have him die. And he did get caught in Inoki's dust release that should have killed him. And he did get caught in Deidara's C0 attack that destroys things on an atomic level. You know, that's neither here nor there. What were we talking about again? Oh, yes, Sarada. Okay, so regardless of how much plot armor Sasuke may have, he can't die 100 times. And even further than that, he can't use his Sharingan for that long. In fact, in Boruto, we see him almost throughout the entire duration of the show being entirely out of chakra. But you know what the 100 healings gives Sarada? A massive well of chakra, much larger than anything Sasuke has ever had access to. Even Naruto doesn't have enough chakra to heal himself from the brink of death 100 times. Using a Jin cloak, he could maybe do it 10 or so times, but we are talking exponential amounts higher than that. Using 100 healings with her Mangekyō Sharingan, Sarada could use her abilities for hours on end, maybe even days. We're talking Madara levels of chakra and fighting durability here. Madara was able to fight for 24 straight hours. We don't know if he was using his Mangekyō Sharingan that entire time or if he was just using his 3 Tomei, but we are talking about massive durability and stamina here. And if you do catch her lacking, it doesn't matter because she can just come back to life. Add that with superhuman strength and superhuman speed, both of which would be higher than Sasuke's, and you have a child who is probably either comparable or stronger than Sasuke at his peak. And once again, I hear you.
But what about the Rinnegan?
And here's the thing, you're right, she doesn't have a Rinnegan, and we don't necessarily see a path for her achieving one. Unless, of course, Naruto does become the next Sage of Six Paths by taking the new 10 tails inside of him and replaces Hagoromo and does the same thing for Sarada that Hagoromo did for Sasuke. And is that the craziest theory you've ever heard? Not really, because here's the thing, there's a 10 tails that needs to get put in somebody, and who better than Naruto, who could now go from protecting Konoha to the entire world. And what would make him feel better about leaving Konoha than having a Rinnegan behind and a potential Hokage candidate to protect it? Listen, I'm aware it's an out there theory, but it's also not the craziest one I've ever formulated. No, that would be Naruto and Nagato are the same person, but from different dimensions. But once again, we'll make a separate video for that. Per usual, if I've convinced you of maybe the entire theory or even to just look at Naruto a bit differently, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell because we post 3 times a week out here, and if you liked this video, then you're gonna like the rest of them. Sure, I'm biased because Sarada's my favorite Uchiha and Sasuke's my least favorite character in all of anime, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong.